And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the day. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
How long has that been our intro?
I don't know. This is the very beginning of time. I don't know.
We have the dope pod to step to, and I get a little frustrated sometimes
when
we're
gonna have to do this again.
I see and hear
I
Mr. Me Too's.
All right, stop down. I'm not doing this. 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 I'm not doing this.
Yeah, you too. Okay, we get it. Yep.
I'm not doing this every day on the pod, Jalen.
I know.
Why?
Yeah, you too.
This is just a difference in our personalities. Now we're gonna have to keep this in. You know what I mean?
Why?
I'm going to let other people toot the horn.
Why?
You know what I mean? I don't reach behind my back and toot my own horn. You know what I mean? Let other people toot. I farted in the studio. Play it, Reg. I farted in the studio.
You're getting emotional. I never said that our podcast was great. I said, how long have we been using that intro?
6 years? But I don't think but it's evolved over time. And anyone who's been listening a long time knows that there's been an evolution to it. It's gotten more professional over time.
I look on my mantle, and I'm not going to be satisfied until I see an Emmy. We rich, but we not filthy.
Oh, we're not getting an Emmy from this show. We're not getting an Emmy from this show. We have to create a 30 for 30 or something. You know what I mean? Like me and you got to start thinking about highbrow features that we got to put together or something. That's how we get Emmys, Jalen. But I was thinking, I'm not going to lie about this. I was walking up the stairs to my house. I know the exact place I was yesterday. So this is relevant. Yesterday, I was walking up the stairs. I said to myself, should we change the intro? What? I was like, we're screaming. We're making references that no one even understands. And I was like, should we change the intro? And by the time I got to the top of the steps, I was like, what are you doing, Jacoby? You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to fix? Like, what is broken that you're trying to fix? So we should not change the intro. Does it ever cross your mind?
No.
No, it doesn't.
The reason why I brought it up is because it's refreshing to me when I see people that have caught up and try to take bits and pieces of what we do, and then you're able to do it on the underground level and take it mainstream like it's yours. So every now and then I have to call that out.
Well,
that's
you got to name
saying.
names. All right, then you got to name names.
All right. You want me to?
No, I don't want you to. No, I really don't want you to. And I'll make them edit it out if you do.
Okay.
He is Jalen Rose.
I'm not doing it, so you won't be able to cut that part out.
No, I don't want to cut that part out. It's all in. Can we do it now?
What up, though?
No, now you're just mailing it in. I'm David Jacoby.
A podcast is supposed to be personal.
It is. We're leaving all this in.
The cool check-in. Even though when people biting us. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We clearly give the people what they want. Those that work in the media, but more importantly, those that support our program. Big shout to all the Mr. Me Too's out there. If you get a chance, hit me at Jalen and Jacoby or at D Jacoby up on Twitter. And call out when you see somebody handling themselves like a Mr. Me Too from our program. Just holler at me. Let me know.
See, me and you got different. You know my angle on this, right? There's no such thing as original idea, number one. Everyone's done something before. And number two is, if anybody does something or bit your style or whatever, that's a compliment. That is a huge compliment. That is a huge salute. And and I feel bad for them. You know what I mean? I feel bad they don't have their own thing, their own wave to ride. I've
come full circle to this one until I figured it's hard being a trailblazer. Were there a team that was wearing black socks as a unit before the Fab Five?
I don't think so.
So everything hadn't been done. Number one, to answer your statement. Number two, the reason why I came full circle is there are people walking this earth named Jalen that actually troll me on Twitter.
No, there's too many Jalens now.
Just think about that for a second.
Do you block them or do you still not block?
No, of course. I'm gonna block. Come on.
You can't block a Jalen.
Come on.
You can't block a Jalen.
I quoted Jada earlier by saying, we rich, we not filthy. I'm gonna quote Fab here by saying, when you're young, you can be hungry, but don't behave like you starving.
Did Fab say that?
Absolutely.
Good.
Facts on facts on facts. Their album is fire.
I listened to a little bit today, too.
You know they're going to be on First Take with us Thursday.
I saw that. They're not going to let us all on at the same time. Desk isn't big enough.
Guess what a producer that was watching Jalen and Jacoby said? I got a good idea.
That's not how this works, Jay. They're coming out. Let me tell you how this works. I've been in this game a long time. They're coming out with, they got a project out. They have a publicist. Publicist reach out to ESPN. ESPN says, cool, we love to have them on. They're in Los Angeles at this time. They're in New York at this time. Oh, would they like to come up on Thursday to Bristol to do some promotions? And then they ask the artist, like, how far away is Bristol from New York? You're like, 2 hours, but we'll get you a car service. It'll be fine. You can smoke. And then they'll be like, all right, we'll be there. That was Jada.
But there also has to be that show that lets you in the door first.
Mm-hmm. I love those two guys on the show. I want them to come back.
I want them to do an intro for us. An outro. Something. Bars!
Do you know what the people want? The people want to talk about Detroit basketball. What do they want to talk about? The Pistons went into Boston and delivered a statement win over the Celtics. Jalen, I know you've been begging to talk about the Pistons for so long, but not until they beat the team with the best record in the league, fueled by Andre Drummond. But look at what they have done so far. They've got, 9th in offensive rating, 14th in defensive rating, great rebounding. They're 3rd in three-point percentage. Jalen, finally, you get to wax poetic about the keys to the success of this Piston season thus far.
See, here's the thing. You might see me on television like, he's rocking Cartiers, he's rocking Gazelles, he's rocking Gucci's. Because these are the things growing up in the city of Detroit I always dreamed about doing.
You also
now
dreamed
I have
about the Pistons being
opportunity
good.
to do so. The same with my Detroit Pistons. There are times where we have the bad boy era. Then we had the Mr. Big Shot and Rip Hamilton and Rashid and Ben Wallace era. Now it's the stand by me.
Yes, give it to me.
Oh, stand by me. I've been trying to tell people he's a top-tier coach in the NBA. I saw what he did in Miami, though they went on to win the championship with Pat Riley. I saw what he did in Orlando, and I'm watching right in front of my very eyes the transformation of my Detroit basketball Pistons. And the thing that I appreciate is when the team embodies a style of play that the city relates to.
Oh, okay.
And that's what has happened here. Yes, we have high-paid, maximum salary guys like Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond. But the blue-collar fiber of the squad is what makes us tick. In particular, the improvement of Andre Drummond. We'll get to the free throw shooting. He always was able to get buckets, turn over both shoulders, catch lobs. He was always able to get rebounds. Andre Drummond is getting over a block a game.
Yep.
And over 15 boards. The last person to put up those type of numbers was in the late 70s. Okay? In those two categories.
Avery Bradley comes to mind as someone who represents the blue-collar essence of Detroit Rock City.
When he played in Boston, what did I tell you about Avery Bradley?
Kyrie Irving was like, oh no. Did you see the game? I watched every second of the game. Avery Bradley was like, Kyrie, I've got you tonight. I've got you tonight. Kyrie did not look good last night. And a lot of it had to do because Avery Bradley did not allow him to look good last night.
And the reason why he's one of my crazy glue guys, and I say that affectionately, when you look at that gentleman, he looked like a boxer. He walk in, face all swole up. He not smiling, but he fighting through every screen. He's competing on every play. He's making an open three. Those type of guys make a guy like Tobias Harris like, wait a minute. Y'all move Morris out of the way. I get minutes at the 3. I get minutes at the 4.
Tobias Harris is flourishing.
30s.
Tobias Harris is flourishing this year.
No question about it.
But
I'm already putting it on wax.
And we're putting it on wax.
The Pistons get 2 All-Stars this year. Andre Drummond and Tobias Harris. That's how well this squad is playing so far.
Well, one of the things that has improved so much about Andre Drummond's games is his free throw shooting. He is now shooting 61.8%, and he's making big buckets. Last night, the Celtics actually tried to hack a Drummond strategy. They tried it one time, and then Brad Stevens just went away from it. And he tried, if you remember, virtual reality goggles. Jalen, should everybody try virtual reality goggles to strengthen their weaknesses?
Props to the team for making whatever the player may need available an option for him to improve. But the most props go to JRLA supporter, and big shout to his mom, who's terrific as well. Andre Drummond, who had the worst free throw percentage of any player in the history of the NBA.
He was so good from the line last. I think he was 6 for 8, and he's going like this every time he made one. I was so happy for him.
And now all of a sudden, he's making free throws in the clutch. This gives credence to my argument. This is why you should not eliminate the ability of players to foul poor free throw shooters. If guys want to get on the free throw line and make the only uncontested shot from 15 feet where no one is moving, that's the same length that it is in elementary, middle school, high school, and college, Andre Drummond is a perfect example of that improvement.
You know Robertson and you know DeAndre Jordan just went and bought some virtual reality goggles. They don't even know if they're just playing video games in them, but they definitely have some virtual reality goggles on the bench for the Clippers, DeAndre Jordan right now. There's bad news for the Clippers, though. Last night, as they're playing the Lakers in a little crosstown, quote-unquote, rivalry, there was this play, little scrum for a loose ball. Austin Rivers gets kind of pushed into Blake Griffin's knee. It bends awkwardly. Griffin was down. He was cursing. He was screaming. It looked awful. He actually stayed in the game for one possession and walked off, as you see, under his own power. But the news isn't great. He has a strained MCL in his left leg, and the Woj dropped the report that he'll be out for 2 months. What does this mean for the future of the Clippers?
The unfortunate thing for the Clippers is this season seems to be one of cursed variety to the point where now they're going to continue to break down their roster. Mm-hmm. And I think in doing so, it's going to start with DeAndre Jordan, who becomes a free agent after this year. Blake, who's put up great regular season numbers, seems to be hurt at the most inopportune times, whether regular season or postseason. In this case, it was friendly fire. In theory, his own teammate falling into his leg, kind of like Zaza Pachulia did last season with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And so based on that, now you're going to see the face of the Clippers look a lot different in uniform. Unfortunately, you may also see the coaching staff look a lot different. And as I see a shakeup that has happened in Memphis, I'm going to tell you something. David Fizdale is going to be a hot commodity as a head coach. And lastly, Colin Kaepernick is on the cover of GQ flipping through the pages like, why don't Mark Jackson have a job in the NBA again?
So wait a second. Let me unpack this, Mr. Rose. Not only are you saying that perhaps Doc Rivers will not finish the season coaching for the Los Angeles Clippers, you think Ballmer and Jerry West are looking around at the headlines and say, wait, David Fizdale got fired and no one can really figure out why he got fired and he's on the market? Maybe we should just send a text message to his agent and just, I don't know, set up a little secret conference call. You think something like that could happen? Yeah. Jalen, I know you can't confirm because you don't want to give up your sources, but that's the information where you will get first on Jalen and Jacoby.
I know. Yep. Yeah, you too. Okay, we get it. Yep.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen, there are rumors. There are little notions out in the air. Joe Vardon of Cleveland.com reporting that a league source said that the Cavs would consider a trade package that would bring them DeAndre Jordan for Tristan Thompson and maybe a pick or maybe someone else. Do you think the Cavs should consider something like this?
I am so for this.
I'm against it.
The Cavs should do this deal. I'll tell you the basketball reasons.
Okay.
DeAndre's taller.
Yes.
A better rebounder, a better shot blocker. He's a free agent after this year. You can lock him up long term. You're going to need players if you don't have the ability to stretch the floor to play 5 to actually be run, jump, dunk, catch, lob type of players. But the other reason why I'm so for this, and I really like Tristan Thompson, I hope he gets back healthy, this puts the Kardashian family back together again.
Oh, puts them in Los Angeles. Yeah, get closer to the family.
No
I love
doubt
that angle.
about
Everybody
it.
wants to be close to their family. I love that. But Jalen,
how about this? So,
Jalen, hold on.
Tristan's dating a Kardashian and Blake's dating a Jenner. It's only right.
I do like that. However, let me give you some basketball reasons why I don't think they should do this. If they're going to win the championship, who are they likely going to face in the finals? The Golden State Warriors. In the final 6 minutes of every finals game, you cannot put DeAndre Jordan on the floor. Not just for free throw shooting. Imagine he puts on some virtual reality goggles like Andre Drummond and turns that around. He can't switch on to anybody. And that's what happens in the finals. Like, I think it would be great for the regular season, this move, but in the finals, I just feel like they would find ways to isolate him, get him on the perimeter, get fouls on him, and it would just be a mess. And then he'd end up sitting on the bench, and Kevin Love would be playing center, and it wouldn't really work. That's why I wouldn't do this.
I disagree. Let me teach you something, young man.
Let's move on to another topic. I don't want to hear from you.
The goal is to be able to play multiple styles. So you mean to tell me when they play against those same teams, is Tristan Thompson going to be in the game?
Yes, Tristan Thompson can switch on. We've seen it. We have 2 years of data of Tristan Thompson playing pretty good defense and terrible offense against that very same Warriors team.
I feel like DeAndre Jordan can put that level of effort in, but also on the other end, he should be able to dominate in the paint, in particular, catching lobs and getting all of the dirty work plays happen.
You know one thing I'm not doing? I'm not giving up that Brooklyn pick, though. If I'm the Cavs and I'm not sure LeBron's coming back, I'm not giving up the Brooklyn pick. You can ask for it. We can start the negotiation there, but I am not giving up that Brooklyn pick and Tristan Thompson for DeAndre Jordan. I'm glad we finally agreed on something. Let's move on. So, Fizdale got fired. And everyone seems to agree that it's sort of unjust, and we don't really know what happened. A lot of people are pointing to this interview that Marc Gasol did when he was benched in the fourth quarter, but something tells me that an upset player doesn't necessarily get a coach fired. There's a lot of incidents, a lot of behind-the-scenes things we don't understand. Someone else who doesn't really understand it, but offered a little bit of a theory, was LeBron James. Let's listen to LeBron.
I don't know the details of it because I'm not around, but I know the type of coach Fizz is. I know how players relate to him, and I know what he stands for. And he don't stand for no. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was because he ain't gonna kiss nobody. I know that.
Jalen, can I read way too much into this because I'm a media member?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I think what LeBron James is alluding to is the fact that he won't kiss up to people. People like, oh, I don't know, the front office, the general manager, the owner, and perhaps there was a clash of ideology. Perhaps there was an exchange of words. And perhaps during this 8-game losing streak when, like you always say, winning's the best deodorant, well, guess what? Losing makes you stink. And when everyone's upset and everyone's pointing the finger and everyone's mad, maybe some expletives were shared, and maybe he just lost the relationship with the people that employed him, and that's why he is out of the league at the moment. Because there is no real forward-facing or wins and losses or basketball reasons that he would be fired, especially because of an 8-game losing streak, as bad as that is, with the roster that he has, the injuries that they've had, doesn't really make sense. Do you buy this theory based on not much?
Fizdale, terrific coach who did more with less last year and continued to do so at the beginning of this year. I hope he and Mark Jackson line up side to side playing against one another next year because they both deserve to have jobs really quick, fast, and a hurry in this league.
You mean playing against each other in the Big Three?
Here's the theory. What ends up happening is Memphis is a unique situation. They didn't give him the mega deal like Luke Walton got in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
When they decide that they're going to retire Zach Randolph and Tony Allen's numbers for their productivity, but also for their service, and they're embodying the grit and grind nature. Basically, what that tells the fan base and everybody around that we want Marc Gasol and Mike Conley to be here forever, so we can do the exact same thing for him. If Marc Gasol isn't seeing eye to eye with any coach, and he comes to the front office and says, I want to be moved, regardless of where he ranks amongst centers in today's game. That now becomes a stain on the organization, and it affects their bottom line if he's unhappy there. So basically what they did is choose the lesser of two evils. Keep the big fella that's in uniform happy. Hopefully he'll stay there for a really long time, get his numbers in the rafters like the other gentleman that I mentioned. We know Fizdale was a good coach for us. We figure he will land on his feet, but this was the choice they made under those circumstances, even though, like LeBron James and like many, I didn't agree with how it was handled.
Well, something tells me that more information about this will come out as time goes on. But right now, Jalen, can you take us behind the curtain? A fan recently posted this video of his son or one of his family members filmed this of him just trying to get Steph Curry's attention. We've all seen this by now. He's got a jersey. He's trying to get Steph's attention. He love you, Steph. I love you, Steph. Steph is looking his direction within earshot, must have heard him, but did not acknowledge him or grant his request for an autograph. This has somehow turned into a controversial thing. Ayesha Curry's weighed in. Our girl Jamel Hill is weighed in. It's become a thing now. But Jalen, take us behind the curtain. What is going through Steph Curry's head as this happens?
A couple of things. Because this is a loaded circumstance. And I wish it wasn't late in the segment so I could really break down every tentacle of what's happening here. Because like the great American philosopher Chris Tucker once said, if I could be where everybody wanted me to be, I would be confused. And that's the quandary that Steph Curry finds himself in. First and foremost, as a black athlete, when you're in the public domain, in particular NBA or NFL, though you dominate the field or the court, you're the minority in the stands. So a lot of people from the outside, especially those that look like me, like, even though you're looking for your family, you got to find time to sign for the young brother. Put Steph in an awkward spot. The young brother at the game. You got Clay. You got a couple of other people. All of a sudden, you feel a level of, I know I'm getting Steph now. I'm right here. Ain't nobody around. Yo! And he got something else on his mind, whatever it is. We're not here to judge. So in each circumstance, I actually think both individuals were right by the way they handled it, because as somebody who signed multiple autographs for anybody that asks, the one person that complains is unfortunately the one person you don't get to. And lastly, when people don't allow you to distract them, when people don't allow themselves to distract you, they get upset. Sometimes they don't care if you're eating dinner. They don't care if you're on the phone. They don't care if you're walking with your kids. They want their time and their energy with you. And as a public figure, this is why we're put in a position to give back to those who have meant so much to us. So I see both sides. It's unfortunate that it played out the way that it played out. But here's what's going to happen.
He's gonna get a special invite. He's gonna be in the Curry VIP section. It's all gonna work out for everybody. So why we even talk about it? We always get people what they want here, ladies.
Hey, ladies!
Make sure you call us up at 985-80-JALEN. Do it right now. Don't pretend like you're gonna do it later, because you're not gonna stop. You're not gonna be thinking about this podcast later. 985-80-JALEN. And leave us a voicemail, because tomorrow is Woman Crush Wednesday. Thursday, we will not have a podcast, but we have a little special present for you. And Friday, we will be back giving the people what they want. Part of giving the people what they want is opening up our subreddit, reddit.com/r/Jalen and Jacoby, our Twitter feed at Jalen and Jacoby, and our voicemail box, and taking questions from the people like this one from our voicemail box.
Yo, it's Big Crown right here. Shout out to everybody. Big Reg, Harlan, the whole crew. Shout out to the homie Uncle Mar, for sure. Got a question. I think it's safe to say that the Pistons are going to the playoffs this year. So, Jalen, would you be attending any Pistons playoff games? And is Stan Van the coach of the year? Let me know. What up? Peace.
Thank you for the call, Big Crown, our associate producer.
Shout out.
And every time you walk to your mailbox, there's a reason why it's been delivered on time.
Because Big Crown was involved.
No question about it. A couple of things. Here's the difference between a Die Easy fan,
Wait
Jacoby,
a second. I don't like where you're going here.
and a Die Hard fan, Jalen. I go to regular season games. I attended one with my brother, David, wifey, Molly, at the Garden this year.
That was a Knicks game. That wasn't a Pistons game.
How about this? I'll be at the Orlando game, December 17th, and we'll be attending plenty of games this year. Big shout to Stan Van Gundy, who, along with Brad Stevens, are going to be in the Coach of the Year conversation. Mike D'Antoni's going to get mentioned clearly. But the squad is doing a terrific job, and not only will we make the playoffs, but we keep playing like this. Depending on the matchups, we can get out of the first round. That ain't too much to ask.
It just keeps this momentum to the All-Star break. There's a couple flagpoles in the NBA season. Christmas is his first base. All-Star, second base. End of the season, third base. End of the playoffs, home plate.
I know one thing we're not going to do in this program, and I'm going to give you a nice visual, Reg, that you should add to the pod.
Pods don't have visuals.
Or a nice audio you can add to the pod. Maybe I should say this on TV where it can be used.
Okay.
Anybody that's talking about MVP conversations and it ain't the NFL, they should get a Three Stooges slap.
You know we did that, though. You know you were out here talking about Giannis 1, LeBron 2.
That was preseason.
That was during the season.
That was preseason. That's so dumb. That conversation is so dumb. I don't produce this stupid show. I wouldn't have been doing that. That don't even make sense.
I agree with you. It seems like we start talking about the MVP by game 4. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's ready to give it to Giannis. And they're like, oh, is Kristaps Porzingis in the top 5 of the MVP race? And
that don't even make sense.
It just kind of ruins the whole thing for me if you kind of if you just, I don't want to get philosophical, but enjoy the journey a little bit. You know? We don't have to talk about what it's all going to be like when it's over. Let's just enjoy the process a little bit right now. Trust the process.
Anybody that's talking about from this day forward, we might have to retire that. We might have to retire and give everybody a date when they can start talking about the NBA MVP. People talking about the MVP race, I'm like, the NFL?
Even the NFL one is boring, too. Is it Carson Wentz or Tom Brady? Who is it? Carson Wentz or Tom Brady? And then if you're one of the smart people, you're like, well, Kareem Hunt is actually the MVP. Well, guess what? Kareem Hunt hasn't done anything in 3 weeks. What was Big Crown's question?
I answered it already.
Okay, good.
Dan Van and the Pistons.
I just want to make sure that we get all of Big Crown's questions answered and treat him with the respect that he deserves. The greatest mail carrier in the history of mail carriers. He actually is, his ancestors invented the Pony Express. It's true. Probably not. Probably not true. Big Crown.
Hopefully you're getting some of those royalties.
Big Crown, you're the best. Appreciate you. And I also like that Jalen called you an associate producer, because a couple dudes call it, be like fellow executive producers. Wait a second. Wait a second.
And just so y'all
have
know,
a higher title than I
you'll
got.
feel a lot better. If you're an executive producer, you're like Harlan or Jacoby or Barron or Reg.
I don't even think so.
Or Tanner. If you're an associate producer, you're like me.
Yeah. It's like when it's good, I did it. And when it's not good, it's someone else's fault.
And Curtis and Alex. And I don't want to leave anybody out.
Kaylee.
What up, Kaylee?
Shout out.
Kylie.
Alyson.
Allison. Alyssa.
Kylie Jenner?
No, she's not in the show.
She will be.
We get canceled.
She will be once Tristan get out here.
I don't think that's a good move, by the way.
Ooh, boy.
Next question we have is from our Twitter feed, and it speaks to something.
They put the Kardashians and the Jenners together in the Clipper uniform. Doc Rivers going to grow an afro.
Doc Rivers' hair looks like a chia pet after 3 days. You just spread the seeds on it, you watered it a couple days, nothing's happening, and I was like, I think I see some sprouts. This is from Brian Smith. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier. Is Marvin Bagley III going to be the number 1 overall pick in the 18 NBA draft? I have an answer for you. I don't know. You know, like, I don't know. I watched some of the Duke game when they played UNC.
It's too early to call. You got to see conference play.
Who are they playing?
You obviously want to see who's drafting where and who's able to maneuver those picks. Just think about last year. The Boston Celtics were a number 1 seed, and they had the number 1 pick and traded it. But he is playing terrific basketball. I enjoy watching him being able to finish around the hoop, grab boards, multiple efforts, has nice bounce, has great length.
Next is from DJ. Jalen, you have to answer this as fast as possible with a yes or a no. Is kissing your dog in the mouth cultural?
Yes. I can't front.
Just bring it on. We always keep it real on the wax.
I have had dogs that I kissed in the mouth before.
Okay.
I have. Growing up, we had Champ and Capone. My brother Kevin.
Is naming your dog Capone cultural?
No doubt.
Yes.
How about Champ?
Champ, no.
Here's the thing. My brother was like JJ on Good Times. He's always find things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll say that because he's obviously matured and turned his life around for the better, and I love him dearly. And so we would have a couple of dogs every now and then. And as I got older, I had my own dogs. I had a Min Pin before. Didn't last long. My favorite dogs, I had a rock before named Cassius.
Ooh. Call him Cash?
Love that dog.
Call him Cash?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but my favorite dogs, as you know, were my South African Borbals.
I had to look that up. I've looked it up like 3 times. Good-looking dogs. Look
expensive. That I had in Indiana.
They look expensive. Oh, that's the Indiana. Okay, now it makes more sense. This wasn't
no
Detroit.
Doubt about it.
The Borbals weren't in Detroit. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You need them to protect the fortress.
Okay.
When something moves, is going to be a problem with whatever's moving.
I like that. I like that a lot.
But if one thing that ain't happening, you ain't sleeping in my bed.
No. That goes for dogs and that goes for my kids. Look, I'll never disrespect or judge way other. That's one thing you learn when you're a parent. Like, you don't really judge way other people get down. Like, whatever it takes to get you and your family through the day. Like, God bless you. But one thing that's not happening in my house: kids in the bed. We got one rule in my house. If the power goes out, literally, if the power goes out that one night a year, then you can come in the bed. Other than that, I'll lock the door. You're gonna have to pick the lock.
I'm gonna flip that for people that takes it as, oh, he's being mean, oh, he's being cruel.
No.
Number one is direct discipline, teaching them how to be able to fall asleep in their beds at night alone. Number one. Number two, and more important, it's the sign of a happily married couple.
Yeah. I mean, look, and if you're listening to this right now, and you've still got a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old that sleeps in the bed with you every night, I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. It's just not what I do. You know, I'm not judging. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying this is what's happening in my house. I get that.
And also, if you're in your house and the tubes ain't tied, no kids sleeping in the bed for sure.
Okay. Next. That was a great question from DJ. Led to a great place. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? It's Luke, your big fan out here in Parachute, Colorado, the Wild Wild West.
Luke.
Reggie, shout out. Hey, fellas, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Jacoby, I gotta put you onto my Aunt Terry's leftover turkey sandwiches, man. I heard you're not a big fan of them, but you gotta try Aunt Terry's out there in eastern Utah, brother. She makes these homemade rolls, man. And she gets your sandwich all set up. I had 4 of them. They were excellent. They traveled all the way back to Colorado, super moist, delicious. The key is that they're made with love and made with those homemade rolls. Jalen, bro, we had a rough fantasy weekend, man. I hope you squeaked out a win. I, too, drafted Larry Fitzgerald and Doug Baldwin, and they have been very, very solid this year. But, boy, that was a rough weekend. Hey, also a question for you guys. This is going to be a boss move or soft move and a cultural or not. It's a daily double. My question, picking up hitchhikers, all right? I've been known to do it from time to time. Of course, I understand that it can be a little bit risky or dangerous, but, helping out somebody who needs a lift, is it a boss move or a soft move? And is it in any part cultural? Appreciate what you guys do. Jalen, you pop the trunk. I pop the hood. Jacoby, keep popping the hats on the back of that minivan, bro. Take care.
There's a lot to address there. First of all, Luke, good question. Second of all, I got the minivan Don. You know what the minivan Mafia Don does? While I'm walking up to the minivan, I pop the hatch with my key. And I open up the doors.
I got the keys.
I open up the doors, both doors with I got the keys. I could not just unlock and lock. There's so much I can do with my key. With my key, I can open up the hatch. I can open up both side doors. It does my taxes. And if I schedule it ahead of time, I can get a massage from my key.
Got the keys.
So, picking up hitchhikers. The best soft move or boss move questions are when the answer is not obvious. I could make a case for each. So I'm going to let you answer first, and then like a debate team, in high school, I'm going to make the opposite play. Soft move or boss move, picking up a hitchhiker.
It's a boss move for your intention, but it's one of those 98% tile things that could go wrong versus the 2% you're trying to help a fellow out or a young lady out. And you know what I'll do. Worst case scenario.
Keep going.
I'm going to keep normal, I'm going to keep going.
For me, it's a risk-reward evaluation, okay? Everything is a risk-reward evaluation. What's the reward? I do something kind for somebody else, help someone else in need, karmic balance, being a good person. That's the reward, that's the upside. Downside, I get murdered and or tortured and then murdered, okay? That doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? So if my options are expose myself to potential long, drawn-out 18 hours of torture and then murder, or not slow my day down and just keep it moving, I'm probably going to keep it moving. Hit the button, Reg. Now, second question. Is it cultural?
It's definitely cultural. No question about it.
It's cultural.
No question about it.
Anyone who's ever pitched up a hitchhiker, and I'm taking race out of this. I'm just taking race completely out of this. If you've ever considered picking up a hitchhiker, you do a quick evaluation head to toe. You know what I mean? Like, how dirty are the sneakers? Could they be carrying a weapon? How big is the bags they're carrying? How long have they been on the road? Are they on their way home from school, or are they homeless on their way across the country? Like, you do a quick up and down and just ask yourself, would I pick that person
You better.
up?
You're putting your life in danger.
I'm not doing it. I don't think I'm ever going to pick up a hitchhiker. I never say never, but I'm going to say never on that one.
I'm not saving a stranger in the car that's on fire. You think I'm picking up a hitchhiker?
Yeah, exactly. Again, I can just keep it moving and not get some karmic points, or I can get tortured and murdered.
But I do want to salute this citizen who takes that risk,
Luke,
to pick up others.
Luke and parachute.
And has literally, I guess, been safe at doing it. And I never want to discourage someone else from doing great deeds.
Luke, just call us every month on the 10th and let us know you're alive. Because if it's the 11th and Reggie said Luke didn't call yesterday, we're not going to put on the show every month. But if it's the 11th and Luke didn't call yesterday, guess what? We're going to send out a search party to Parachute, Colorado. We all remember Sunday, Aqib Talib snatching Michael Crabtree's chain for a second time. Adam Schefter has some new information about this. That Crabtree taped his chain down before taking the field. Jalen Rose, very important question. Soft move or boss move, taping your chain down before facing your rival?
That right there is a soft move because it's not going to stop the other individual from running your jewels.
I think it just makes it more difficult and therefore makes it more of a trophy when it gets accomplished.
It doesn't make it more difficult. Basically, what was happening in that scenario is it's symbolic of not only do I not like you, I'm going to disrespect you enough that I'm going to snatch your chain and you're not going to do anything about it. So Michael Crabtree had to defend himself.
We have some statue news. Jalen, there's this planned statue of Evander Holyfield going up in downtown Atlanta outside the Flatiron Building, scheduled for 2018. Do you like this new statue, senior statue analyst?
I love it. Real deal Holyfield. The only thing is, can they do something with his arms?
No, I have another thing that I would like them to do. I looked at the statue, and I think they should take a little chunk out of his right ear. Based on, wouldn't that be nice? His right ear is fully formed. Don't you feel like it would be so nice, like a little wink-wink to one of the most memorable moments of his career? Should they take a chunk out of his right ear?
That, while it's a memorable moment, it's not a defining moment because he was a storied, multiple champion on different in different weight classes. So I get the joke and it's keys, but no.
I thought it'd be fun. Well, Arby's is going to buy Buffalo Wild Wings for $2.4 billion. We slander Arby's on this program all the time. How did they get $2.4 billion selling those sandwiches, Jalen? How did they get $2.4 billion selling those sandwiches?
Living in America.
Don't forget, ladies, call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us some voicemails.
Ladies.
We'll be back tomorrow as we are every single day, leaving you a dope pod to step to.
Uh-huh. We're not done. We're not done.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, hit the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we're putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen Jacoby on ESPN2 and ESPN Radio. What do?
We give the people a dope pod to step to consistently for 6 years, along with radio and television. The second most handsome duo in the industry, next to
Tony and Mike. Pardon the interruption. Jalen Rose, we always
What
give
up,
people
Dak?
a dope pod to step to. So much has happened since we last had a pod on Wednesday. I don't even know where to start. Woj dropped the bomb earlier on Monday. David Fizdale is out as the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. I am shocked by this. What is your reaction to this move by the Grizzlies?
I feel the exact same way that you do because he's one of the best, bright, young minds in the game. He did a terrific job with that squad last year that dealt with injury. They outplayed expectation, put himself in the Coach of the Year conversation. They came back this year compared to the opponent with another overall, other than Gasol and Mike Conley, players that were considered fringe starters. What was going to happen with Chandler Parsons and his return and his injury? Can he play up to contractual expectations? So at the beginning of the year, they were basically a surprise. They weren't a team that I gave a lot of expectations to because he was coaching that squad up. And so for him to decide to bench Marc Gasol late in the basketball game, Gasol to come out and talk about it publicly, it seems like the star player wins out versus the head coach. But overall, I think the franchise loses because in that dynamic, you want to try to keep both of those guys happy because they're both terrific at what they do.
I think that we are going to see a lot of follow-up reports on this. I can't imagine it's just as simple as, oh, you bench Marc Gasol, he complained, and now you're fired. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about that we will find out about soon and wish Coach Fizdale the best in his next endeavor. But we're always going to give the people what they want. We are going to open up our voicemail line and go into our subreddit.
Can I address something for the pod audience real quick? Please hit the break.
Speaking.
Let me go to the rail for 30 seconds.
I was speaking.
But the people, this is why you come to the pod. Yes, I literally was on SportsCenter right before I saw Joel Embiid come on and give me a shout as he referenced 81. This is what I'm going to say about that. I've been one of the multimedia personalities that have been enthusiastic about this young man since he was in college. Talking about he reminded me of Akeem the Dream. He could turn over both shoulders. I like the fact that he was a lumberer and threw his knees around and his elbows around, had a major personality. The town was going to fall in love with him. He could shoot the three. He could block shots. And when Ben Simmons returns, they're going to be what is everything I said, Jacoby.
A problem.
What did I say?
A problem for the league.
So I've been saying this for like 3 years, and he hasn't played 82 full games yet. So here's what I have to say in response. I respect the young fella. I want to see him do well, but he ain't a vet yet. So I'm just going to fall back and let them cook, let him do his thing, and see how the process turns out. All respect.
No doubt. I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving weekend, but something happened over the weekend, and we need you to take us behind the curtain. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks had high expectations for themselves and by others as the season started. They've now lost 3 of 4. Things are getting a little rocky, and it looks like it's getting to their star player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here you can see him physically threatening an assistant coach on the sideline. Jalen, take us behind the curtain. We know that there's arguments between coaches and players all the time, but does it ever escalate to this?
You alluded to the frustration that he's dealing with. High expectations of a young team, hoping to go to the next level as he vaults himself from all-star to all-NBA to now MVP candidacy. They're on the road in Utah. He was driving to the basket, felt like he didn't get the call, missed a short shot. He was driving on the right side, got a turnover. Before you know it, in transition, his team gives up an open dunk. So just like any parent that's on their child or their scholar, as we like to call them at JRLA, shout out. When you don't take care of your business, your teachers, your parents, your deans, everybody's going to get on you. And I'm sure at that point, he came to the huddle and teammates were barking and mumbling. The coaching staff was barking and mumbling. And then that one annoying voice that he just didn't want to hear at that time, he's like, oh, I'm tired of this. You know what? That's enough. And so really that's what that was, more so to him actually physically wanted to have an altercation with the coach.
Well, of course, he's talked about it, and people have asked him about it, and now he said, oh, it's no big deal. That's what me and Coach Sweeney always do. We're like brothers. We argue. But, Jalen, to say I'll bleep you up seems to be like a level up than what you normally see between brothers that argue a lot. Isn't that true?
This is the exact same reason I stopped cursing, because of what you're doing right now. You put it on the scale and you try to judge the inflection, the body language, the tone.
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Was it multiple words?
Me and you argue all the time. We don't threaten each other. Me and you argue all the time, and we never threaten each other. We never threaten each other. Like I say, I'll bleep you up in the huddle on the sideline of a game. You say, oh, we do that all the time, but this one just happened to be seen on national television.
But me and you don't care enough about our jobs as we should. So therefore, when we disagree, we're not upset. We're not mad. We don't have the stats in our hand talking about these radio shows and podcasts are doing better than ours, because we're doing better than everybody's.
I don't know if that's factually true, but I'll take it.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen, do you remember last time the Broncos and Raiders played? It was last January, and Aqib Talib snatched the chain from Crabtree. Well, they played again this weekend, and again, Talib went chain snatching on the field. However, this time it led to a huge brawl, led to 3 ejections, this guy getting bumped over, a couple punches were thrown. It got crazy. Jalen Rose, when they play next season, will Michael Crabtree wear the chain?
He will be wearing a chain, and I would not be surprised if it's a dookie rope next time. Here's the thing. In a professional environment, they both play for rivals, Broncos and Raiders, clearly. This goes beyond the score of the game, or I'm trying to beat you, or even I'm trying to humiliate you. This goes beyond, I really can't mess with you. This goes to the, I can't stand him type of category. And the idea of snatching someone's chain is not about the necklace, because he clearly knows that he has insurance and can get another one. It's almost the equivalent of smacking someone or spitting in their face, trying to show them ultimate disrespect. And so once that happened the first time you Michael Crabtree, you got to find a way to protect yourself from it happening the second time around. There were people that whispered, maybe he missed the last game they played because he didn't want to have to deal with this. But he was back out there on the field, It was 3 plays in. Akeem snatched his jewels, and before you know it, it was an all-out brawl on the football field.
We saw this with Beckham and Norman, and we also see it in this game. Like, at some point, if you're a teammate of theirs, aren't you upset with them for getting kicked out of the game? You're saying, look, you're taking your own little personal squabble, and you're hurting our team with it. Don't you feel the teammates feel a certain way about this?
What would always fascinate me about fights in any sport, in particular football, is that they're wearing uniforms. So, like, if you're Michael Crabtree, you make money by catching touchdown passes. You happen to punch to live into his helmet, all of a sudden you're going to bust your hand open, break a finger, break a hand, dislocate something. So now it becomes more long-term. And I noticed Akeem, he never took his helmet off. He's like, I'm going to make sure I keep mine on, and I'm going to keep on coming. So I understand where you're coming from, but you can't tell me that teammates and or coaches from either side didn't see that coming. I saw it coming from where I sit.
Then we have this. The Philadelphia Eagles are on a roll. They have the best record in the National Football League, and they played against the Bears, and they were having so much fun. You can see them here scoring touchdown after touchdown, rolling bowling celebrations, knocking everybody down. Carson Wentz is involved. Now they're doing the electric slide. We all know the electric slide. They needed 2 times to practice it, though, and they're playing tic-tac-toe on the sideline against each other just to get some competition. Jalen Rose, are the Philadelphia Eagles your Super Bowl favorites?
In the NFC, they are. And I've talked about that on this program. They're a complete football team. Carson Wentz isn't a statuesque quarterback. He's an actual football player. He can make all of the throws. He can do all of the scrambling that's necessary. He can get himself out of trouble. He doesn't always slide if he needs to get late yards. They have tall, fast receivers that can go up the field, plus across the middle. You have Zach Ertz, one of the best tight ends in the game. In Philadelphia, the last couple of years, man, they keep some running backs. It's killing my fantasy team that they brought in Jay Ajayi to go with LeGarrette Blount. But I'm telling you, they have so many backs that they're using that constantly become a change of pace and keep the defense off balance. And then you go to the defensive side of the football, they have a great player at each phase. Fletcher Cox on the D-line, Brandon Graham's at linebacker, Jenkins at cornerback. And they're really making it a special season right there in Philadelphia so far.
But I noticed you said something. When I asked if they were your Super Bowl favorites, you said in the NFC they are. Would you pick them over, say, I don't know, the New England Patriots in a Super Bowl matchup?
The way the Patriots defense has looked the last couple of weeks, you want to give Tom Brady the nod in these situations versus a second-year quarterback if a big game was to happen. But overall, from beginning to end, body of work, if you had to rank the teams since the start of the season, you would have to rank Philadelphia. But in a big game, if they were to play this Sunday, I would have to go with the Patriots.
Jalen, could you do the electric slide without any help or without any music?
Of course. Come on,
I don't think
man.
I could. I'm always that guy who's like looking at the person next to him, like a half step behind. Like everywhere, you know me. And then I know the turn. The turn's basically the only part that I really got. I need the music. I can't do it without the music. Well, Carson Wentz is on a hot streak, and so is Prince Harry. Big shout to Prince Harry. He got engaged to Meghan Markle over the weekend, and these two both being in the headlines got a lot of people wondering, are they the same person? I legit don't know which one is which. Are Prince Harry and Carson Wentz the same person? Does Prince Harry quarterback for the Eagles every Sunday?
Possibly, and this happens in sports. I was flicking through the channel, saw Ben Simmons, Aaron Judge. I'm like, you know what? I understand that they haven't been in the same place at the same time as the young fella from Arizona that plays for Orlando. He's making his threes this year.
Aaron Gordon.
But with that being said, Prince Harry showing his versatility, getting married on Saturday, quarterbacking the Eagles on Sunday, and he getting married to a sister. He's shaking up the game.
He is shaking up the game. Just want to be clear, he got engaged. He didn't get married, but he will be married next spring to Meghan Markle. Big shout to that couple. I support them as I support all power couples. On the wrong side of that blowout victory by the Eagles were the Chicago Bears. The Bears have been so bad this season that they've inspired this one fan to bring this sign to the game. It is the Firefox logo. They are coached by John Fox. I always say you could be mean if you're funny. Jalen, is this mean, funny, or both?
It's actually funny and really mean when you're asking somebody to lose their job. I did chuckle and laugh. But overall, he's actually doing a good job with that team. They developed a couple of running backs. Trubisky's a rookie. They don't really have those explosive weapons on the outside. And the defense is coming around. I say you keep him on the sideline at least another season.
So we always give the people what they want. We're going to open up our voicemail line. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. You can go into our subreddit on reddit.com/r/Jalen and Jacoby, and you can hit up our Twitter feed, which is at Jalen and Jacoby. Ask us questions. First question that we have is pumpkin pie cultural?
So Bernie Mac was once asked by a young man, does something taste like pumpkin pie? And he told him he never had any pumpkin pie.
Okay.
So yes, it's cultural.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I would say a large majority of Thanksgiving tables had pumpkin pie on them. A large majority. Because since we're just getting out of Thanksgiving weekend,
in what neighborhood?
In all, I'm telling you, I would say I'm not whether Latino or Hispanic or black or white or whatever. There's a pumpkin pie on the table. There is.
I would say the universal pie is sweet potato, not pumpkin.
Oh, no.
I think you're getting that wrong.
You think generally across the population, the sweet potato pie is more popular than pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving? That's crazy. That's crazy, Jalen.
I do.
Do you know what's the problem?
I do.
You know what's the problem for me right now? My wife doesn't listen to the pod, so I can say this. We've got 6 pies in our fridge right now. You know I don't like leftovers. My fridge is full of leftovers right now. Full of leftovers. Like it's Monday now. I'm not eating this. I don't need 6 pies at the house. We only had 9 people at the table. We had 6 pies.
I know one thing that's kept me busy this weekend. That Friday on Elm Street is fire. Bars. If you don't have the Fab and the Jada, you need to put this pod on pause and download it right now. They get going from the jump, from the intro through the ending with Jeezy. Such flames. Songs with Marvin, Future, Styles, Swizzy. Oh, man. You ain't heard it yet?
Of course I've heard it. Please, we had him on the show. I listened to it on Friday when it came out. Let's go to our voicemail line.
I downloaded it Friday morning, too.
If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. We'll play on the show just like this.
What up, though, Jalen and Jacoby? This is your boy, Uncle Mar, representing the DMV area. You already know. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving, including all of the executive producers. Shout out to Big Crown, Matthias, Fingerlow Jones, Brian Smith. You already know. I know you guys probably already either talked about this or about to talk about it, but the Alabama and Minnesota game, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, they had a brawl, a bench clearing, and the whole bench of Alabama's team got ejected, and they had to play a 3-on-5. Now, I've never seen that a day in my life, and I didn't even know that was possible. So, my question is for Jalen. Jalen, have you ever seen anything like that before in the NBA or in college? So you guys always keep getting those checks, keep giving the people what they want.
So, yes, there was a fight. Alabama had to finish the game with 3 basketball players, a 3-on-5 game. Anyone who's played in the rec league knows the 4-on-5 game because a couple people don't show up. Next thing you know, you got to play 4-on-5. You got yourself a chance in that one. But 3-on-5, you have no chance. Jalen, have you ever been around anything like this in your career?
I've never seen it in elite level basketball, collegiate or professional. Shout out to one of my mentors, Avery Johnson, head coach at Alabama, who did a great job of coaching up his 3 players in the second half to the point where they actually outscored Minnesota during that period. However, they lost the game. NCAA, come on with the rules. No different than the NBA. They didn't leave the bench to escalate the brawl. Nobody physically got involved with the encounter. You can't now cheat the fans, cheat the television networks, and put a product out there that has 4 players. One gets injured, now you have 3. You just can't do that.
We also need to start with this is the bench clearing rules need to change. We've said it before. It's another opportunity to say it again. The punishment should be different for involving yourself in the altercation. If you're a peacemaker, if you're out there to try to hold your teammates back, if you're protecting your teammates and coaches, you should not be suspended for the next game. You should not be kicked out. We've all been around this. Like, are you trying to tell me that people that I've been in the foxhole with for years, that I practice with every single day, are in a physical altercation a mere 5 or 6 feet away from me, and I'm supposed to just sit down on my hands and watch that? It's just against your natural reaction. It's just unnatural to do nothing, and it's hard to train your brain to have the discipline to sit there and do nothing. It's one thing if you go out there swinging. It's one thing if you start engaging the other team, but if you try to pull your friend and teammate away from something, you should not be suspended or punished for that.
How many times you're in your vehicle, you're walking up the street, and there's an altercation or an incident or an accident or whatever? They call that rubbernecking. You do that for a stranger, just to see if somebody's going to be okay or if you could possibly be of assistance. So if they don't get involved in the altercation, there shouldn't be any suspension.
I agree. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, what's going on, Jalen, Jacoby? It's Jalen. Weird, right? But first and foremost, shout out to my man Jacoby for always making sure he's checking us, Jalen, because sometimes we just do what we want to do because Jalen's are the best. And of course, shout out to Jalen Rose, the man, the mastermind behind the whole plan. Soft move or boss move? Jacoby calling his stomach a tummy. Yeah, like I just want to know, because I want to make a joke, but I don't know if I should make a joke because I might call it a tummy. But I gotta get an answer to this. Gotta be a soft move or is it a boss move? Because my niece is saying soft, I'm saying my girl's saying boss. I'm stuck in between here. Peace, guys.
It's actually an inside joke because we had Katie Nolan on the show, and she said that, and we called her out for it. So then I've just been using it ever since because I think it's kind of funny. Also, I've got 3 kids under 5, and tummy's just something that you say a lot. I just think it's kind of funny to say tummy instead of stomach. Yeah. So whether it's a soft move or a boss move, whatever, it's a Jacoby move.
Shout out.
Your thoughts, Jalen?
Big shout, namesake Jalen.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate your support. It's been a unique weekend. And now that Jacoby acknowledged that was an inside joke, I have to turn the page on another thing that happened. I didn't know if I wanted to listen to the bars or shed a tear when I see Mace going at Cam.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
I was like, no.
I'm glad you brought this up because I may or may not have paid close attention to this one. I may or may not have listened to every single song and seen the subsequent Instagram comments. So Cameron has some things to say about Mace on his latest. Mace comes out with a song called The Oracle where he goes hard at Cam. And then Cam has another track in response called Dinner Time where he goes back at Mace. And then Cam puts out Instagram DM messages between the two of them where they just kind of laugh about it to each other. Right? And then Mace says, well, I won unanimously, so I just shook his hand afterwards. But it does look like one of those things where it's like a premeditated beef to keep everybody's name in the news. Is that what it seemed like to you, Jalen?
That makes me happy.
Do you
because
feel...
both of them still give me bars. And I was happy that Mace had to roll up his sleeves and unbutton his shirt and take down the tie a little bit, show him that Reverend Run wasn't the only pastor that could get busy.
Shout out.
I enjoyed it. And then Mace went on Funk Flex, I think, and said that, I actually won and we're not cool or whatever. But it's one of those things. It's over. So I'm glad it's over. But shout out to Cam and Mace because I will always associate those two with each other.
No doubt. How about they play high school basketball together and they were both real
buckets.
good?
Yeah, they both got buckets. I think they're both in the Gauchos too. I might be wrong about that, but there is a bit of a legend about how good both of those they are at basketball. This is from Aaron.
Shout out.
Oh no, I'm not reading that. Aaron trying to get me fired. I gotta read these. Before asking. Let's go to another voicemail.
Jalen, Jacoby, I got a question. Me being a huge fan of the Ravens and a huge fan of the Spurs, we got two big games coming up tonight, Monday night at 7:30. So I'm trying to figure out which game should I watch. You got the Ravens, that first Monday night game in years, they're fighting for the wild card. Then you got the Spurs bringing back one of their stars, one of the big three, Tony Parker, coming back for his first game this season. So which game should I watch, man? Let me know. Shout out to Reg.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love. This is an easy one.
Well, what's that?
You watch both.
Yeah, you watch both, but, you
put the channel on last.
If you can't record one, you put the channel on last, and you got to pay closer attention to the Ravens game because their season is in the balance. The San Antonio Spurs season isn't in the balance. You want to see Tony Parker play, that's great, but, the San Antonio Spurs are going to be the San Antonio Spurs. The Ravens need this win. And then once the Ravens get down by 3 scores, that's when you go back to the Spurs game.
And I would love to know how you became a fan of the Spurs, who just so happened to win 5 championships recently, and the Ravens, who've won a couple recent too, and one's in the DMV and one's in Texas.
Are you accusing a caller, someone who took time out of their day to call our voicemail line at 98580 Jalen? Are you accusing them of being a bandwagon fan? Is that what you're doing?
I didn't make an accusation. I said I'm curious to know.
Oh, you're just curious to know. Well, something tells me he'll call back and let us know. Because he's mad right now listening to the pod. He's mad. Yeah.
I became a fan of the U because when I was watching Michael Irvin and Benny Blades and them play, I was like, if I got locked up, they'll come bail me out. I love them.
They won't. They won't come bail you out. Dominic wants to know, how long before Jim Harbaugh is back coaching in the NFL?
So I'm glad you brought this up. And so, got a chance to go to the game this past Saturday. And what kills me is how people want to pile on Jim Harbaugh like this isn't the first year that he's had his own players in Ann Arbor. Like the first year. We all know he's one of the better coaches in the pros and in college. Expecting him to be Nick Saban is unrealistic. This is why there have been coaching carousels that turn over in the NFL. Expecting somebody to be Bill Belichick is unrealistic. We're going to get our chance to win our national championship. Everybody just calm down a little bit.
Look forward to that in the year 2035. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
What's going on, Jalen, Jacoby? This is Julian in Buffalo, originally from Rochester. Shout out to Reg, Harlan, everybody in the entire staff. Appreciate what you're doing, especially over here in Western New York. As things get cold, you guys always warm us up with a dope pod to step to. Hey, 2 quick questions. The first one is, where is Kawhi Leonard? Is he Jalen? Especially for you, have you heard anything? We know you are the king of breaking news on Jalen Jacoby, while everyone else, that is going to be broken news. So I just wanted to see, is Kawhi done for the year? Is he coming halfway through All-Star break? Let us know. And then secondly, I was having a debate with my boy. Is grape soda cultural? I didn't think that it was. I thought all people like grape soda. But I think some of my friends are trying to convince me that it is a cultural difference. So let me know. Keep giving the people what we want. And I am a person, so give me what I want.
Thank you for the call, Julio, representing Buffalo. I'll get to number 2 first because that's the fastest. The same people that eat chitlins drink grape soda.
I would say grape soda is not cultural. I would say it's not cultural. I would say fruit punch soda is cultural. Fruit punch soda is cultural. But grape soda, no, not cultural.
All right, that's fair. I like what you did there. That's fair. Number 2, Pop mentioned that Kawhi has a unique injury that he hadn't seen. I don't think that the Spurs would ever be a team that rushes people back from injury. It's odd that he was out the entire summer and then misses the beginning of the season. But this, for me, is starting to sound like if he doesn't come back by All-Star break, he might not come back this year.
What? Jalen. The Spurs are going to be in the playoffs.
The one thing about being an elite athlete like Kawhi Leonard, Like, I can't imagine if he's not back by All-Star break that they would bring him back at all.
Really? See, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back. They're going to be in the playoffs. You know, so if you got a couple months to get him ready for the playoffs, he comes back in March or whatever, that'll work.
We'll see. This is a unique injury. Hopefully he comes back soon because, man, I'm missing him playing basketball. And it's 2-week-on cornrows.
Reginald Carr has a question. Is the Tristan Thompson and Nets pick for DeAndre Jordan happening?
If I was the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'd do that deal. What? Because DeAndre's bigger and more athletic than Tristan. You're going to have to pay him more money. He's proven to be a consistent starter, a rebounder, a shot blocker. I just think he's a better version. So I do that.
But the Nets pick
if I'm the
part,
Cleveland Cavaliers.
it's the Nets pick part, which is tricky because you end up losing LeBron, which is always on the table, and then you don't have the Nets pick. If you have the Nets pick and you lose LeBron, you're like, all right, we're going to rebuild. We've got, top 3 pick right here. We can do this. But if you cash all in on this season and whatever happens, an injury or, you lose a series to a team that you shouldn't lose a series to, next thing you know, you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you don't have LeBron, and you're sitting there with DeAndre Jordan and, like, Kevin Love and no picks.
What if, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what if you did that move and it ultimately led to you winning this year's championship?
Well, something tells me at the end of the games, you're not going to see DeAndre Jordan covering Kevin Durant.
No.
That's going to be tricky. So he's going to be if they get to the finals and beat the Warriors, he'll be on the bench for the last 8 minutes of every game. You know that. So the Bucks are 8-7, and we kind of class them, especially when they picked up Bledsoe, as one of the best 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Do you think that will stay true throughout the regular season?
They fall into that category. You got to start thinking about my Detroit Pistons, who playing good ball. Mm-hmm. We already know the Cavs and the Boston Celtics are on a different level, right behind them.
Raptors.
The struggling Washington Wizards, who've been an enigma night to night. The Toronto Raptors, who found a way to get going here recently, and the Milwaukee Bucks belong in that conversation, again, along with the Pistons.
Well, you mentioned the Cavs, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have kind of quietly, relatively for them, won 7 straight games in a row heading into their matchup with the Sixers on Monday night. And then Isaiah Thomas tweeted this. Locked in. It's almost watch emoji. So he's saying it's almost time. The Cavs said that he would be back in sometime around January, and they have now changed that to a December return for Isaiah Thomas. If you look at their games in December, there's one game that sticks out above all others, and that is the Christmas matchup with the Warriors. You've played in the NBA, Jalen. How many games before the matchup with the Warriors would Isaiah Thomas need to kind of warm up and get in shape?
Well, the reality of it is, it's basically December now, and he's talking about coming back in December. Therefore, he won't be ready the way he would like to be regardless. So it could be that week. It could be 2 weeks prior. You have those boosts of energy where you tend to play well even though you may be sick or you may be a little fatigued. You mentally are able to lock in and take yourself to a place you didn't know that you were going to be able to. But for him to actually be back playing at his full capacity, it's going to take 20 games,
really?
A fourth of the season, for him to be that type of player that was averaging 30 points. And I'm so happy that he's returning because he, along with Kawhi Leonard, this early in the season, people tend to forget how good they really are at basketball. I'm going to enjoy watching him play with LeBron.
Me too. Well, something else happened with the Cavs over the Thanksgiving weekend, and Derrick Rose has kind of left the team. He's kind of taken a little sabbatical. He's going to evaluate his future, evaluate his professional relationship. He's got some time away from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jalen, this is kind of odd coming from someone who used to be an MVP, a veteran player. What is Derrick Rose going through?
This isn't odd for me. This actually took place last year, where he took some time away from the team to deal with some personal issues that he had to juggle, that we all need to juggle in our private lives, that as a professional, you hope it doesn't stop you from performing at optimal level at your profession. Last year it did, caused him to miss games, caused him to go AWOL from the team. This year, he's dealing with it as well. Some of it, if not a lot of it or most of it, has to do with his history of being injured so much. When you've got on and off the operating table time and time again, having to rehab, having to trust your body, then all of a sudden going back to square one. That is something I'm really fortunate I didn't have to deal with a lot as a player. And as athletic as he was as a player, exploding, dunking, one hand, two hand, herking, jerking, he's a stick shift out there. So for him not to be able to function and play at that level that he's used to, I'm pretty sure it emotionally wears on him. I think he will find a way back in uniform, hopefully soon.
Well, even if he is contemplating leaving the game for good, there is this. Reportedly, his Adidas deal has an out if he does retire from basketball, so he would potentially leave a reported $80 million on the table. Could you imagine him doing that?
I don't anticipate that anybody would do that. I know I wouldn't. Let me tell you something. I'll be at training camp, walking around barefoot, getting a pedicure during practice, and make the team cut me before I walk away from the game and leave $80 million on the table. Not going to be able to do it.
Our next endeavor is some statue news. When we last saw a statue of Cristiano Ronaldo, it was this disgusting bust of him with his teeth out, smiling, looking like Sloth in the Goonies. And now we have this. Another bust of Ronaldo was built. Now we can see his handsome face and his steely demeanor. Jalen Rose, as our senior statue analyst, not just of ESPN, but of the world, why? What led to this huge improvement between the two statues?
The main improvement, the first time the person that did the picture probably had never seen him in life, clearly, because it didn't look like him. So while they were off the mark with the entire bust, one portion of it I'm going to focus on in particular. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and before I got veneers, I had this issue too. The first statue had a lot of gums and some baby teeth. And so that didn't look the best. So now when you remix it, you want to see his profile, you keep the grill closed so that now you can enjoy it and you don't see a lot of his smaller teeth, because if he was picking one of the things that he probably wanted to be on his bust, I'm sure that would not be a headline.
Jalen, I noticed that you were at the Michigan game over the weekend. I also noticed that you basically guaranteed a victory of the Wolverines. Didn't exactly play out that way. I hope you really enjoyed your time there. And there was a controversy, though. JT Barrett got injured before the game, and Urban Meyer was not happy about it. Let's listen to Urban.
Well, I'm just so upset with myself. There was a non-football injury. Too many damn people on the sideline. And a guy with a camera hit him in the knee. I'm going to find out who. And think about that.
Well, Jalen, we actually have found out who that mystery cameraman was that injured the Ohio State quarterback before the game. What? It was you, Jalen Rose. We have this picture of you with the camera trying to injure the quarterback. Jalen, why did you go so far as to try to injure the Ohio State Buckeye quarterback before the game at the Big House?
I respect Urban Meyer, JT Barrett. He's had a terrific career at Ohio State. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And over the last 15 years, they've had their way with our squad.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the pod. Don't forget, I know you subscribe and listen to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast, but not everybody does. Make sure you tell a friend to subscribe and listen to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast. And go on to iTunes, rate and review the Jalen and Jacoby podcast. Woman Crush Wednesday is coming upon us. Ladies, make sure you call